The Republican plan to tackle our growing deficit continues to gain momentum, and as a result, liberals are resorting to scare tactics in an effort to diminish support for Congressman Paul Ryan's proposal. Now, the latest shameful attempt by the left to distract Americans comes in the form of a completely baseless television ad put together by a group called the Agenda Project. Take a look. Pretty disgusting, but of course you're not going to be hearing any Democrats complaining because we've been hearing this type of outrageous rhetoric from them for years.
The Republican health care plan is this: die quickly. That's right. The Republicans want you to die quickly if you get sick.
And joining me with reaction to these liberal scare tactics are Republican strategist Karen Hannity and former Democratic congressional candidate Crystal Ball. Crystal, does that ad bother you, throwing grandma over the cliff and when it's totally, completely, utterly, provably false?
It does bother me, actually, but I have to point out that in terms of plummeting seniors, Republicans take the cake. They actually aired an ad where they threw Grandpa out of an airplane, and airplanes are higher than cliffs, Sean.
And why did they throw Grandpa out of the airplane?
Because they said that that was equivalent to the public option, that he would be thrown out and his life would be at risk because of death panels. I mean, I think it's really quite rich that conservatives are...
What do you name the name of the group? Because I'd never seen the ad.
Sure. It's a conservative group called Independent Institute.
Never heard of them. And I'm a pretty prominent conservative. Never. Karen, have you ever heard of them?
Well, if you take a look at it, you'll see it.
I've never heard of them.
Listen, well, look it up. You'll see it. Sean, listen.
Let me go to Karen, because we've got a lot of things I want to air here, all right? Because we're going to go through the history of this. Karen, but first, your initial reaction to this one.
It's a vision that says up to 50 million Americans have to lose their health insurance in order for us to reduce the deficit. Who are these 50 million Americans? Many are somebody's grandparents, maybe one of yours, who wouldn't be able to afford nursing home care without Medicaid. Many are poor children. Some are middle-class families who have children with autism or Down syndrome. These are the Americans we'd be telling to fend for themselves.
Karen, that's coming from the top. An outright lie. Call it it's just a lie. It's just not true. Your reaction?
Right. Look, this is going to be a horrible campaign election season. You know, we always say every election season is the worst. What we're hearing from the president already and what he's doing to pander to the left wing, I don't care whether it's, you know, throwing Republican seniors under the bus or whether he's throwing Israel under the bus. I think this is a president who will absolutely stop at nothing to win re-election, who isn't afraid to either tell false, flat-out lies or certainly scare the American public. And believe me, his policies do scare the American public. Yeah. But, you know, and it all distracts from the real agenda, which is what are we going to do about Medicare? What are we going to do about Social Security? Democrats definitely don't want to have this conversation. You know,
Crystal, is, you know, that's your president. That's the guy you support. That's the guy you like, telling a lie to the American people.
It's not a lie.
Hang on a second. Paul Ryan's plan isn't going to have kids with autism and Down syndrome and old people fending for themselves. That's not true, Crystal.
Well, it is true. If the Paul Ryan plan were to pass, over 34 million Americans would be kicked off of health insurance. How would you feel about having some worthless government voucher to go buy your health insurance?
And your math is done by the money that has not funded Obamacare, and your math is Paul Ryan's plan saves Medicare from bankruptcy.
Let me make one other point. There is a major difference between the Republican scare tactics that were used during health care and the Democratic ads that are coming out now, and that is death panels were completely made up. They were named PolitiFact's Lie of the Year in 2009.
You know what, Crystal? If this gets
plan really
if this
would
happens,
kick millions of seniors
there will
out of
be
healthcare.
government rationing bodies, just like in Great Britain, and they will be deciding based on your age.
That's not true.
Well, you watch by the end of it. By the time I can prove it, by the time all is said and done, I guarantee it. All right, Karen, I want to throw this one to you.
This is lie of the year.
This is what happens almost every election season. We almost have an entire network now dedicated to bringing up false charges of racism.
Right.
This is the Democratic Party, 1998. The Democratic Party itself in Missouri. Listen to this.
When you don't vote, you allow another cross to burn. When you don't vote, you let another assault wound a brother or sister. When you don't vote, you let the Republicans continue to cut school lunches and Head Start.
Followed by the James Byrd ad, and in every election season, it seems Democrats go out and play the race card. There's no other way to say it. Your reaction?
Right. And, let's not forget that when President Obama was running for president in 2008, and even up to the point he was inaugurated, all we heard is that he was going to bring this country together. And we heard, at that Democratic Party speech, National Convention speech years ago, where he really came onto the scene, how he was going to bring red states and blue states together. And here he is using the power of the presidency to go out there and scare Americans and outright lie to Americans about what the Republicans are trying to do with very serious national policy. And this is a president who continues to divide Americans.
To do with the president.
No, she's not saying that.
Had nothing to do with the president.
No, I told you that was a 90. I'm laying out the history, Crystal.
All right, number two, if you want to talk about playing the race card, let's talk about Willie Horton. Let's talk about people questioning the president's birthplace because he's other, because he's different. Let's talk about welfare queens. Let's talk about the food stamp president. Okay, to me, that's the race card.
Food stamps have gone. Hang on, Crystal, slow down.
I have no interest in defending
Crystal, 33 million Americans to 47 million Americans on food stamps. You're saying that what? You believe what? If somebody states that as a fact, how is that racist?
I'm saying that is because of a recession.
It's a fact.
Not because of this president's policies.
No, but you know what, Sean? Here's the great point.
It is.
Anytime Republicans want to go out there and they want to talk about reforming the system, if you question, should we do anything to reform welfare? Should we do anything to reform Medicare and Social Security? You hate poor people. You hate blacks. You hate minorities. You hate Hispanics. If you want to reform immigration policy in America, any reform that any conservative Republican wants to do in America is all tied to hate, according to the Democratic Party.
Hang on. Hang on, Crystal. Hang on. One last question. How is pointing out that this president has more people on food stamps than any other president in history, explain in the short time we have, how is that racist?
It's hearkening back to the welfare queen thing. It's saying that this president thinks.
So you can't tell the truth. You can't speak. So are you assuming that? Are you assuming more people?
I'm not defending these types of ads. I'm not defending these types of tactics. What I am saying is it's a bit rich for the Republican Party.
You're just repeating them. You're not defending them. You're repeating them.
Who said called it Nazi eugenics during the healthcare debate to now be crying foul over these same types of tactics.
Guys, good to see you. More information, by the way, is coming out about President Obama's speech this morning. You won't believe who reportedly helped the Anointed One craft his message. We're going to tell you next in Media Mash. Straight ahead.